In the frigid Canadian North, young pilots seeking adventure battle the elements in World War II planes.
You know, when things start breaking down up here, they have a trend of everything happening at once.
Captain Devin Brooks arrives for work.
Morning. How are you? Good. Not too bad at all.
Today will be his first flight in a while, after an extended visit home to Ontario. Even his first day back at work can't dampen Devin's spirits. As he heads across the street for a quick goodbye.
I'll see you in a little bit.
Devin's girlfriend Janelle joined him on his visit home to the family farm.
This is Good Hope's here, if anybody's wondering.
Today, she's back at work with her Aunt Kelly sorting freight. But Janelle got more out of her trip than just some lessons on driving Devin's family tractor.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. What the hell am I supposed to say? I'm engaged, I guess. He got down on one knee, and he said, Janelle, I love you so much. Will you marry me? And I was like, oh my God, yeah.
She took a double take and damn near fell off the tractor, but she said yes, I guess. She said yes, so that was a good thing.
I didn't even know how to feel. I was just shaking, you know, so nervous and whatever. But it was amazing.
It's about freaking time. Should have done that a year ago, the bastard.
Today, Devin's on his regular food and mail run to Fort Good Hope. But time away from the cockpit of a 46 feels like an eternity.
That plane is difficult to get back in the groove, even for me. You just have to prepare yourself.
I never worry about Devin's ability to fly, ever. But sometimes I worry about those airplanes. They're old. You always just hope that they're gonna get home, you know? So sometimes I worry.
The planes may be old, but Devin's crew is experienced. Mechanic Jimmy Essery and First Officer Ian Bottomley.
Bro, start. Flat.
Buffalo 507, tower contact Edmonton Center, 135.81 airborne, wind 0.
Clear for takeoff 33 over center in the air, Buffalo 507.
The crew is heading 800 kilometers northwest to the familiar destination of Fort Good Hope.
Buffalo 507, C46, we're 50 miles to the east, touchdown 5 minutes after the hour.
It's an uneventful trip until they close in on the Good Hope airstrip. Devin hears a noise from the plane's hydraulic pumps.
Can you hear it? I thought I heard something earlier in the flight. Next cruise, we'll get him to look at the hydraulics there.
Going into Fort Good Hope, I heard the chattering of the pumps. So I could just hear the pumps starving for hydraulic fluid.
If there's a leak in the hydraulic system, it could mean serious trouble. The pressurized fluid controls the landing gear and other major systems.
Which runs the gear, the flaps, cowl flaps, the brakes, a wide range of stuff.
But the hydraulics can't control anything if the fluid leaks out before they land. Touching down, everything seems to be working.
Yeah, go down.
But when mechanic Jimmy Essery checks the hydraulics, he finds a major leak.
The spinning here is split. I can't tighten it anymore because I don't want to break it right in half. We gotta slow down.
It leaked a whole bunch of hydraulic oil, and it was just seeping out through there.
That line right there, yes. The spinning right there is got a crack with that. 2/3 of the way. It's just a short leg, but we don't have one.
It's up to Captain Devin Brooks to decide their next move.
We keep it positive pressure. There shouldn't be any pressure in that hook, right?
The leak is in the up block, which holds the landing gear in place when it retracts into the plane.
If we put the gear to neutral,
yeah,
you won't have anything. It's just dangling on it.
Yeah.
Right, Ian? So when we take off, we'll just...
Devin decides they can minimize fluid loss if they don't employ the hydraulics to lock the gear up after takeoff. That way, they'll be pumping as little fluid as possible through the damaged fitting.
Nothing we can do about it here. We have no parts, so all we can do is keep the gear handle in neutral once we do get it up for the after takeoff checks.
Jimmy performs the only minor surgery he can.
We're just putting a hose clamp around it. Just trying to prevent it from cracking anymore and flying off there.
If it blows off, their leak could turn into a gusher. With the wheels up, they disengage the hydraulics.
Looks good here.
No leak in place. You have to keep your eye on it. It'll only leak when you select gear down. When the lock releases, that's when the oil goes to the gear.
All they can do is hope that the hydraulic system will hold pressure and lock the gear down. They'll find out when they land in Yellowknife. Devin C46 heads in for final approach.
07 Yellowknife Tower, good afternoon. Good evening, bound gear 284. C46.
Mechanic Jimmy Essery keeps his eye on the hydraulic fluid and makes sure the levels are holding. But until now, they haven't lowered the gear and put pressure on the cracked hose.
Buffalo 507 Tower, wind 040 at 5, clear to land runway 09. Clear there, off to your right.
But they're about to turn on the tap. Jimmy's tried to hold the hose in place with a clamp, and the crew is about to see how it holds up under full pressure. If there's too much force, the split will open back up, spewing hydraulic fluid out the bottom of the plane. The crew could lose control of their landing gear, wing flaps, and...
Are we gonna have brakes when we hit the runway?
The C46 is equipped with an emergency brake system.
You got a one-shot deal at the brakes. You know, there's a little red valve there. You can lift it up, and you got one shot.
By manually pumping the red handle on the floor of the cockpit, a 600 psi air charge is sent to the brakes.
You can't play with your brakes. You just slow down. You keep it as straight as you can, and then you just hammer them on. That's it.
But no one on this crew has ever had to use the emergency brake. If their timing is off, the plane could careen off the end of the runway. Ian Bottomley drops the gear, sending fluid coursing through the lines.
Lights coming. Green and amber should down and locked. Hydraulics look good to us. We're colored to land, 4 lights.
It's time for the moment of truth. Will the hydraulics hold out?
Little wind from the left.
The pressure holds, and so do the brakes. They've made it down safely. But as he rolls onto the ramp, Devin won't be getting any downtime.
We're gonna start loading all these giant, awkward crates in it. We're gonna have to tear them down and try and fit them in.
As mechanic Jimmy Essery heads off to find a replacement hydraulic fitting, Scott Blue is ready to help Devin coordinate a monster load. 13,000 pounds of generator exhaust parts have to leave for the high Arctic first thing in the morning, which means they have to get it onto the plane tonight if the crew is going to leave on time.
Pretty ugly. It's gonna be pretty ugly. We struggled mightily with a bunch of big boxes. If we can break them down, that makes it a hell of a lot easier.
Go up a little bit, Devin.
Go up?
Up just 2 inches.
Ugly, ugly ship. That's good.
Okay. You're right there, right?
And now, the crew needs to rest up. It'll be another marathon day tomorrow.
Hydraulic fluid, everything?
Yesterday's hydraulic problem has been fixed.
Well, hopefully everything goes well today.
Knock on wood.
Yeah. It should be warm.
Devin's focused on getting his difficult load up north.
I don't worry from day to day. We had the incident with the hydraulic leak the day before, and I wasn't worried about taking the plane up to Cambridge Bay the next day.
3 set for departure. Props, line and lock. 3160.
The flaps are responding, and it looks like smooth sky all the way to Cambridge Bay.
Clear takeoff 33 with a right turn, Buffalo 508. Ready, shower pressure, we're 15.
We did the after takeoff checks, and everything looked tickety-boo. It was a beautiful day. It was a cloud in the sky, so that was going to our advantage as well.
But as Devin and crew climb toward cruising altitude, not everything is looking up.
Well, just the airspeed, we weren't picking up the airspeed like we should. It just was not accelerating as fast as we should, and it would only go so fast, and we should have been going a lot faster than that.
There's a reason, but the crew can't see it. With no view of the tail, they don't realize their tail gear hasn't retracted, creating drag on the plane.
There was something going on there, but we still weren't 100% sure that the tail wheel was dragging.
And heading out over Great Slave Lake, they find the landing gear is just one symptom of a much bigger problem.
We just lost hydraulic pressure. You what? Just lost hydraulic pressure. Are those valves on? Yep. Officer Victor Tower. We lost it. What's it say, Jimmy?
The hydraulic gauges for the main system and the 2 hydraulic pumps went to 0. And that's not really supposed to happen.
We lost it all.
Yesterday's problem was supposed to be fixed, but Devin and Ian get no response from the controls.
That's how you can tell. Yeah.
The day before's events that we're running through, is all this hydraulic fluid just pouring out somewhere.
If the hose is leaking again, it's a lot worse than before. They've got no brakes, no wing flaps, no main landing gear. 3,000 feet up and no safe way to get on the ground.
Right gear down, buddy. Bring it up first. Yeah,
First Officer Ian Bottomley resets the gear control in the upright position and then tries to coax the wheels back down.
I got nothing. Are those on for sure, Jimmy? Yeah. But the oil is not circulating in the tank with the pump on. Bring it up for now. Better.
This is company Go Ahead, TXW.
Devin reports the crisis to Buffalo HQ.
Yeah, we have no hydraulics, so we'll be out over Great Slave for a while. We'll keep good for him. We're with Tower 2.
Okay, understood. I'll find Rod and relay the message. He'll probably want to come up here and grab you on the radio.
We got up to 3,500 feet just because, in my eyes, the more altitude you have, the better.
With a little more space between his plane and the ground, Devin hopes he can come up with a plan.
I guess we had 5 or 6 hours fuel on board.
But right now, the crew still has no idea how they're going to get back on the tarmac. With no sign of life in the system, Devin comes up with a plan of action.
Hey, Jimmy? Yeah. We're going to have to manually extend this gear.
Jimmy pulls the emergency gear release. This handle releases the landing gear, allowing the wheels to drop from the wheel wells. But there's still no hydraulic pressure to lock the wheels down. If the gear isn't locked, it will collapse, sending the C46 skidding out of control on its belly. Locking the gear is all up to Jimmy.
Just get the shit off the hellhole.
The hellhole leads down into a freezing, noisy cavity under the cockpit. But just inside the hatch is a hand crank designed to lock the gears down manually.
they'll only come down part way. And you have to get down and literally crank them down the rest of the way and lock them.
While Jimmy gets to work, Devin updates the tower.
Buffalo 508, just want to get some more information on the nature of your problem. Is it a landing gear issue? Yeah, it is. Landing gear issue. I just lost the hydraulics, so we're cranking it down now.
It's an emergency landing. The control tower calls in the airport fire crew.
We believe it's a gear issue. There's 4 souls on board. 4 souls on board and 8,000 pounds of fuel.
Mikey and his brother Rod, the director of maintenance, guide Jimmy through the emergency procedure.
On the crank, there's a left and right main gear crank. There's marks on the chain that tell you if it's in the position or not.
We're cranking it down now, so we may need a low and over Buffalo 27 just to take a look at it. I can't see the tail wheel from here, so.
Jimmy gets the first wheel down, and the gear light comes on. But there's still another to go.
I saw my gear lock, like literally.
On the ground, Mikey McBryan heads outside as the 46 flies over the hangar. The pilots can't see their tail wheel. They know it's dragging, but does it really look to be locked down? They need Mikey's eyewitness report fast.
Just kind of nervous there. Just want to make sure the boys are okay.
Hey, is anybody here at the tail wheel?
They get the word from the ground. All wheels, including the tail, look good. But there's still no guarantee that they're really locked.
Still not 100% sure it's locked. You know it's down. You're still not 100% sure it's locked. One gear could still collapse. The green light came on, but you're still not 100% sure.
As a last desperate measure, Jimmy pours his final spare cans of fluid into the system.
I'm going to take some of that 5-gallon pail and pour some more in.
By now, the hydraulics are so dry, the system takes in every last drop Jimmy has on the plane.
We just don't have any pressure, so we'll see if we can get enough built up in there, 600 or so for the brakes. That'll be about it. We'll come in flapless.
The brake system is designed to store a small amount of reserve pressure. The crew has to hope it's enough. But even if the brakes work, they're not out of trouble.
What do you need to land? Usually flaps. So they elected a flapless landing, so they didn't have to try to use up excessive fluid that may be available for braking once they land.
Flaps are crucial to slow down the plane during landing. Without them, the crew could hit the runway at 220 kilometers an hour, which could simply be too fast for the brakes to handle.
91.
We're full of gas. We got 12,500 pounds of freight on, and it's heavy. It's really heavy.
Well, gentlemen, you get the moment of truth at this. Yeah, you're under in about a minute.
You know, just hang on for the ride. Hope for the best.
Hey, clear to land 33, check thermite, Buffalo 50.
But just when they line up for final approach...
When I said that, you know, now we're going to determine if it's down and locked, at that point...
With perfect timing, the system kicks back in.
Then I noticed the hydraulics started pumping.
Well, it's circulating in the tank pretty good now. It wasn't before, eh? Sitting there dead. A little high, a little fast for 5+.
But will this unexpected burst of pressure really hold out until they're safely on the ramp?
Well, you might as well use the ramp. Go on.
For now, brakes and flaps come back to life.
Okay, pressure charged again. I'm gonna go in. Go to 9587. Pressure is still good. There's a 2. Oh, still got pressure.
The hydraulics have come through.
Yeah, bring the flap up. Roger, coming up.
Buffalo 508 to airport firehouse.
Yeah, go ahead. 508.
Yep, just checking to make sure everything's okay. Do you guys need any assistance back at Buffalo Ramp?
No, thanks a lot. We're all good there now. Thank you.
You're on port fire. I'll check. Have a good day.
Thank you.
I'll tell you something, Devin, he played her calm, cool, collective. He's a really good guy. Good pilot.
And Devin and Ian did a hell of a job of maintaining their cool and getting this thing back on the ground.
Now, Devin's determined to figure out how the pressure came back and where the fluid went.
I just couldn't wrap my head around it. Where did we lose all this?
What did you have on board?
None of them has ever seen anything like this before. It's a complete mystery. But before this plane flies again, they need to find out what caused the sudden pressure drop and fluid loss in the hydraulic system.
The fluids are up this morning.
So where did it go?
I don't know.
So it was either out of fluid this morning.
The tank was right up, though.
No, it wasn't at a fluid wrap.
So where did it go?
It must have been an air.
Yeah, must have been a big airlock.
An airlock would be like cholesterol or something, just something clogging one of your blood vessels or arteries to the heart.
The crew thinks that yesterday's leak could have allowed an air bubble to form in the hydraulic lines. That would explain the sudden loss of pressure.
You turn on the tap and you expect a steady stream of fluid to come out and it sputters. The supply of fluid isn't getting pressurized in a solid stream. Simple. Sputtering tap.
But unlike a leak, an airlock wouldn't result in a loss of fluid. So it doesn't explain why the system ran so dry. So where did all that fluid go? Director of Maintenance Rod McBryan thinks he may have the answer.
The only way to get the gear down, you see that valve with the spring on it?
A release valve in the tail gear.
And it dumps everything so the gear will free fall.
Okay, I got you.
When Jimmy pulled the emergency handle to manually drop the gear, it automatically opened the valve.
Once it was up, that dumps all the fluid out of the entire system, and it comes out near the tail wheel.
And when that valve is open, it can also drain all your tank out, too.
Dump it overboard.
With the,
all at the back.
with the emergency handle.
When you go emergency gear extension, it just dumps it to allow no lock so the gear can free fall. That's where the fluid went.
But draining the fluid also cleared out the airlock. So when he added his last pail of fluid,
All of a sudden, the valve and the tail closed, and the hydraulics just started working again.
the mechanics check over the plane to confirm the theory.
The engineers have to check all the valves and everything to make sure they're shut, replenish the hydraulic tank.
After a thorough inspection,
Let's give her another whirl.
the mechanics give Devin the word that the C46 is now safe to fly. So he's ready to try again to get this load of generator exhaust parts up to Cambridge Bay.
See you later.
Well, let's get the show on the road, buddy. Everything still looks good. 7,500 for Cambridge. Looking for runway 33. No run up required.
You gotta get the job done with the cards you're dealt. I don't panic. I don't know, I've seen enough of them.
I have it. Go to. Roger.
Never know. There might be one day that I'll panic and know that I can't do anything about it. Knock on wood, I don't think it'll ever happen. I know it'll never happen.
Devin's already put this morning behind him. He's looking ahead, and he likes what he sees.
See Janelle smiling and say that she engaged, smile on her face. It's awesome.
The temperature in Yellowknife is minus 36.
Still cold, but it should warm up during the day, so the food needs to go.
Captain Devin Brooks is glad to be flying the Valley Run today.
You made us laugh. Just push, buddy.
I can't push either because it's no room.
Devin's co-pilot, Scott Blue, is also his roommate.
How'd the early morning wake-up call go?
And he's noticed some changes since Devin's girlfriend, Janelle Glenn, moved in.
I think the place gets a little cleaner. It's not quite so dirty. The decor of the apartment has certainly improved. Certain magazines aren't around as much as they used to be with Janelle around.
with the gear lever up or neutral? Neutral.
Scott is Devin's friend, but in the C46 cockpit, Devin is the boss.
I'm trying to teach him what my captains taught me. And just because he's my roommate, I can probably say a little bit more to him. He's old enough, older than me. He can take it. He's a man. I'm only doing it to try to make him a better pilot.
It's a very difficult plane to fly. And I'm still learning every day.
And Scott has little choice. At 6'7", he's too tall to fly any other plane in the Buffalo fleet.
I would have been checked out sooner if I could have flown the DC-3. A fellow by the name of James ended up getting that check out because he fit. I did not. I had to wait a few more months to get on the C-46.
Like Scott, Devin started out at Buffalo as a co-pilot on the C-46.
I was put in from float planes to C-46 co-pilot. I had a tough time. I was in the same boat. I couldn't fly the damn thing for 3 or 4 months.
It's a very, very difficult airplane to fly.
Adam Smith is the onboard mechanic. He knows what Scott's up against.
Scott's a pretty green co-pilot. He's got maybe 600 hours in the airplane, and that's not a lot of time for that airplane.
Fuel selectors. Front's here, quantity's fine. Boost pumps, two on hold. Carburetor in, cold, ignition.
It's clicking for Scott now. He's getting better and better and better.
Send pre-takeoffs are complete. Yellowknife Tower, Buffalo 508, run them complete, ready for takeoff.
Buffalo 508, rate turnout, clear takeoff, runway 15.
508.
They're on their way. Today's Valley Run will not only test Devin and Scott's mettle as flyers, it will test their friendship as well. With clear, calm skies over the Mackenzie Valley, C-46 Captain Devin Brooks makes the most of this flight, taking the vintage warplane down to a low altitude.
Look at that. Up here, you got the freedom to fly around, see different things. It gives you the perspective on how fast you're actually flying. Probably makes you a better pilot too, because you're paying attention more. Sure, you're on a flight plan, but it's uncontrolled airspace, and that to me is fun right now.
It's fun now, but there's trouble up ahead over Toledo. Located at the junction of the Mackenzie and Great Bear Rivers, Toledo means where the rivers meet in Dene.
You got the two rivers coming together. You got the big rock for turbulence coming out of a valley into another valley. So you get some pretty interesting winds, and it can be pretty rough in there.
We got a warning that there was wind shear in Toledo, but up to that point, everything was fine.
Converging bodies of water and land formations like Bear Rock, right beside Toledo's airstrip, can whip up volatile flight conditions on final approach.
Coming over the trees, the airplane drops out of the sky. We can't do that.
Because of its shape, the C-46 is extremely vulnerable in wind shear.
Big fat body, not very long, so it can get twisted and tossed. And when your crosswinds are changing all the time, it just isn't a good scenario whatsoever.
Wind shear is a very hard thing because everything looks normal. I fly along, bang. It's like a thief in the night takes away your ability to fly. So it's scary.
Back in Yellowknife, the Buffalo staff have heard the weather warning for Toledo. And that has Devin's girlfriend, Janelle, worried about his safety.
There's only a certain amount of wind that the 46 can handle, like in a crosswind. So across like the runway, whatever they're landing on. And you know, if it's bad, then they can really
crash.
Yeah.
Flying is just one huge calculated risk, right? Hopefully the pilots are trained enough to deal with it.
As the C-46 approaches Toledo, the threatening 1,000-foot-high Bear Rock looms large.
From past experiences, you know that Bear Rock is always turbulent.
From our perspective, it's just stay away from it. It's bad.
I've seen lots of wind shear in there, and lots of rough turbulence.
As the wind buffets the plane, Devin gets set for a wild ride.
Watch that speed every couple knots, call it out.
Pilot flying is dealing with flying the aircraft, looking outside of the cockpit, you know, with quick glances.
I was watching Devin as he was making his approach. He put full left-hand aileron in, and the airplane stayed level. And And when I saw that, I go, oh, this is going to be bumpy.
Oh, we're going to get beat to.
My job as a co-pilot is to assist the captain. You slip into train mode, everything becomes, short, sweet, to the point. Say it quickly, say it loudly. Your reactions have to be like that.
Any variation.
Scott knows a co-pilot's responsibilities on approach.
Their head does not go out. Their head stays in the cockpit, and they're just scanning everything. Calling airspeeds.
95,
But knowing what to do and doing it under pressure are two different things.
Call the speeds. Call the f***ing speed. Roger that.
He doesn't need to look outside. His job is just to take care of the stuff in the plane, call the speeds.
Call the speeds. It's vital. Every 5 knots, if not 2.
I just told him call the speeds, every 5 knots and any fluctuation.
You gotta call it, man. It's been 20 f***ing knots. I'm gonna get fucking pissed off here.
In a life and death situation, there's no mincing words.
He just didn't have his head in the plane enough.
Devin needed somebody to vent on, and Scott was right there, and that's kind of the co-pilot's job, is to get vented on.
A sudden gust hits the 46 like an oncoming train. The plane suddenly loses speed and altitude.
When I hit the wind shear, I seen it on my airspeed that it dropped 20-25 knots.
I've never seen a 25-knot loss and 200-foot loss like that.
Wind shear blasts them head on.
Put the gear down, flaps down, you drop too much more, you can stall.
A sudden top wind could slam the plane to the ground.
110, 100.
Devin descends lower, just feet from the runway.
105. Go around. Horseshoe. Not bad.
Devin overshoots the runway, aborting the landing. But he's not giving up.
I'm gonna come in from the other side.
He's going to give it one more try.
I was thinking we should have left after the first one.
I got one. Take it up to 23. 23. Coming to you. Pops up. The wind shear was nasty. The airspeed was fluctuating. The plane was getting tossed around a little too much. It's not something to be toyed with in any way, shape, or form.
Well, he doesn't really have something to prove, but he's got to at least try as hard as he can to get the airplane in.
And Scott is focused and ready this time.
Just take a look outside, make sure everything's fine. Looks good, I'm all right. Yeah.
The second shot, we came around in a different pattern. I tried to stay over the Mackenzie River a little bit, see if it was any calmer.
85. 95. 90. Full flat. Running. 86, 93.
It was my decision, and I didn't feel like wrecking the airplane.
Being the youngest captain at Buffalo means don't be an idiot, don't let it go to your head. I guarantee you every one of us has a little cockiness streak in us, but you don't take that to the left seat of an airplane.
The wind shear was so close to the ground, we could have landed and slid off the end of the runway, or something else worse could happen.
Wind shear, 100 feet off the ground. We're just going to leave Toledo's freight on board and go home. What do you think, Adam? Oh, it's way too rough, man. It's not worth it.
I don't really care if they don't get their food.
Let's get the out of there. They can have their groceries tomorrow.
I'd rather be alive sitting here talking to you about it than make a stupid mistake.
That's being the captain of an airplane is. These guys are all my responsibility. They have input, but at the end of the day, it's my responsibility as them.
In Yellowknife, co-pilot Scott Blue is back on the ramp, prepping a C46 for a supply run up the valley. And today, he's going to fly. Warmer weather has brought more humidity and fog, and the threat of icing on the wings and props.
Start building up a lot of icing, you're gonna get in trouble pretty fast. So you have to take it seriously. You're talking about your life, anybody else's on the plane lives, and the aircraft itself. So you have to take icing seriously.
The captain on the C46 is AJ DeCoste.
AJ started off at the very bottom, but AJ's work ethics helped him move up in the Buffalo ladder of responsibilities.
Very first time I ever tried to take off in the C46, as we started rolling down the runway, it started to go left a little bit. So I applied right rudder. By the time it was going too far right, I had the left rudder, but it was still going right. So we ended up basically taking out a couple runway lights.
Before boarding the plane, AJ gives the exterior a thorough inspection.
You can see where some of the paint is missing along here, where ice has actually been thrown from the propeller in flight and hit the side of the fuselage. It's like a gunshot. It's very loud, and if you're not expecting it, it's kind of scary, actually.
I'm gonna try to get this shit off of here. I'm just gonna pick up more of it with this freezing fog. But it's only on the ground here. 200 feet up, it's blue sky.
Everything is set to go. They fire up the engines and taxi out to do a run-up.
Okay, just a dash on the right. There shouldn't be any conflict. Okay.
It looks like Scott will actually get some much-needed flying hours today.
03 tower line up at the threshold, runway 27.
And 802, we're just going to need a couple of seconds here, if it's okay.
Yep, that's fine.
But AJ decides to turn back.
A little bit of a vibration coming from the right engine.
It appears to be a timing problem.
On the right engine, there's two mags, and one of the mags is not working very well. So mechanics are going to go get the tools, and we'll chip away and fix the problem.
A look by a mechanic, and it appears this isn't a quick fix. Scott won't be flying today after all. The next morning, engineer Adam Smith works to get AJ and Scott's C46 back in service.
Yeah, make it louder with that new prop.
I've got the old mag that I removed from the airplane. This is the new mag going on. Go.
The magneto controls the timing of the sparks in each cylinder of this 18-cylinder Pratt & Whitney engine. Even a slight flaw in timing can cause combustion with the valves open, resulting in rough running and backfiring.
That's it. Goddamn pilots leaving the goddamn switches on.
Scott's dying to get some flying time, but Adam still needs to put the new mag through its paces.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for all my temperatures to come up. In the cold, metal gets more brittle. And if it's more brittle, you're more likely to crack cylinders, blow oil coolers, seals will fail. It's an art form, running them in the winter.
It takes tender, loving care from everyone to keep Buffalo's vintage prop liners going. Scott's anxious to get flying the only plane his 6'7" frame fits into.
Well, good to go. Shut her down, let the pilots take her. Just gotta do a little paperwork.
Locked, loaded, and finally ready to go, Scott and AJ taxi out.
Buffalo 328, backtrack in line up runway 09. You'll be number 2 for departure. Report ready after the
328, backtracking for departure, runway 09. Call your run up, please.
Scott is finally in the air in the C46.
It's a fun plane, it's a challenge. It can be quite frustrating, she's temperamental, but I like it.
The C46 is the ideal plane for the valley run, able to take off and land on small airstrips. And it can carry a massive payload. Up here, it's like an airborne 18-wheeler. Only a handful of C46s in the world are still operating.
I ended up here because I'm a nostalgic aviation, anything with an engine geek. I don't know, there's just something about these old tanks that intrigues me. Like, how much longer are they going to be flying? I mean, yeah, they've been saying that for 30 years now and they're still going, but this is the end of an era, I think.
Back in World War II, Curtiss Wright built the 46 with a glass dome enclosing the cockpit, a useful feature for wartime conditions. The plane was overbuilt for war with powerful engines, few windows, and enlarged cargo doors. So far, their supply run up the Mackenzie Valley seems to be going smoothly. But up here in the north, that can change in a heartbeat.
Windy up here today. This fucking giver, man, we'll go up to 45. Roger that.
AJ notices something else.
You get used to the normal running sound of the engines, and you can tell when one of them is not quite up to snuff. Kind of a heightened sense of awareness, watching for the gauges to see if there's any indication that we're going to have a major malfunction on the engine.
And the Wright, or number 2 engine, doesn't sound good.
The engine actually was running a little bit rough there for about probably a little bit less than a minute. So we're just keeping extra diligent lookout here on our engine instruments.
It's the same engine that had the magneto problem earlier.
You know, when things start breaking down up here, they have a trend of everything happening at once.
On their way back home, just 180 kilometers from Yellowknife, things turn ugly. The right engine starts backfiring.
You hear that backfire, Scott?
I think it came from this side.
Yeah, control?
Yeah, control.
Take a look out there.
He's definitely running rough.
Yeah, if we have to shut it down, it's definitely not going to be much fun here.
There she goes again.
Yeah.
The backfiring is so bad that it rocks the plane.
Got a nasty shake.
When it backfires and shakes, there's other things that can then break on the engine because you're putting a lot of extra stress on some of the parts.
Does it look like it's shaking out there, Scott?
Yep.
If they let the number 2 engine run this rough, the vibrations could literally tear the wing off this shuddering plane.
We're gonna have to shut down the number 2 engine. It's backfiring too much. That's too rough. Worried something's gonna happen here.
AJ initiates a shutdown of the right engine.
Firm number 2?
Number 2 prop.
Firm number 2?
Number 2 mixture.
And confirm number 2.
Number 2 feather.
Just slowing down.
But for some reason, the propeller isn't feathering properly.
Revolutions are consistent.
Feathering means rotating the pitch of the propeller blades so that they're parallel to the airflow.
And if it's feathered, it's not moving, the engine's not moving, lowest amount of drag, no wear tear on the engine. Best way to bring it home.
But it doesn't work.
It's not feathering.
Benny's, I don't know why that thing's not feathering. We'll try it again here.
Still spinning, AJ.
It's still turning, eh?
Still turning, not shutting down.
Scott spots more trouble.
A little bit of smoke popping out of the exhaust, black smoke. With one good engine and one crappy engine that won't feather.
A DC-4, if it started to do that, then they would shut the engine down right away.
So right now there's very little else we can do except limp her home. Cross our fingers.
AJ and Scott start their approach to Yellowknife, where there's more bad news.
Weather in Yellowknife is not the greatest right now.
The cloud cover is low, just 100 meters above the runway.
The runway 15 back course, and we are having engine issues.
Are you declaring an emergency, sir?
get priority for landing.
4615, request priority landing sequence.
When they break through the cloud cover, they'll have just seconds to find the runway.
You have to make sure that your approach is the first one's a good one because you don't really want to overshoot.
They're down to 1,000.
With only one good engine, they'll have just one chance at the landing. They won't have the power to climb back for another approach.
You don't have a lot of room for error.
Okay, I'll be on them.
It's going to be a bumpy approach.
This is where their training kicks in. There's no time for emotion. They need to focus on getting safely onto the ground.
50 feet altitude.
Clearing the clouds, they find themselves offline, with the runway approaching fast.
On the right. What do you got? On the right.
You got the runway?
Yeah, full flap. Full flap coming.
AJ pulls full flap.
Full flap set.
He'll have to drop into position quickly to try and nail the landing.
90. 85. Finals are done. 100.
A very tough landing, under extremely difficult conditions. Yet AJ and Scott pull it off superbly.
You know, they say like a pilot's life is hours of boredom, punctuated by moments of sheer terror, eh?
There's so many different things that you're wondering about. Once you're on the ground, all that stuff is gone. It's just like someone just pulled, 100 pounds off your back or whatever. Both me and Scott were shaking a little bit there. You can notice whenever you move to move something, you notice.
Yeah, it was just sort of, we're calm, we're cool, we're talking fine, you know what I mean? But the body is naturally, your brain's not dumb, your body's not dumb. It knows this isn't a great spot to be in, guys.
So it'll be a couple weeks before I'm completely back to normal, I would think.
AJ and Scott talk it through as they put the plane to bed.
I don't know, if one mag was like working 100%, I don't think it'd be that shaky myself, but
maybe it was something else too.
Yeah, no, it's for sure the one.
You don't usually forget who it was you're with when you have some sort of problem with the airplane. So yeah, it's a bonding experience.
I think that's a lot of the reason why I was, I never freaked out once, in the plane. I never lost it. I had full faith in who was sitting next to me.
It's the end of the week. There's no trip scheduled for tomorrow, so gives you a lot of confidence in the person you're with. If they didn't make any mistakes and they did everything you wanted them to, then the next time you're probably going to be a little bit less nervous than you were, that time.
Scott just wanted a little flying time, but in the end, he got much more. The chance to prove himself cool under pressure in the eyes of his captain.
All right, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, good work.
Absolutely.
See you later, eh?
Yeah.
AJ and Scott are home safe.
It was like, go jumping like that a little bit. And same thing with the RPM was wandering a little bit.
Though AJ might downplay the story to his fiancée. Dark and early at Buffalo Airways, and there's already trouble.
If you want to grab a couple of frostfighters, bring them over.
Freezing rain overnight has encrusted the airline's vintage C46 cargo plane in ice. That's throwing a wrench into food and mail deliveries to remote settlements.
Well, Ian's been here since 6:30. Oh, it's 9 o'clock now.
Already 2 hours behind schedule, C46 Captain Devin Brooks needs to get his frozen plane defrosted quick. But it's minus 15 now.
We got tarps, we got everything going on.
So every available body helps de-ice this 65-year-old cargo plane. Tents are thrown over the ice-covered wings, and frost fighters pumping out 300,000 BTUs of heat try to melt the 3/4-inch layer of ice.
We'll get out of here sometime today.
It's a terrible start to the day, and it's about to get worse for Devin. Flying in from Hay River, the boss, Buffalo Joe McBryan, is surprised that the C46 is still on the tarmac.
I can't believe this. You know, I didn't grow up like this. No, well, I didn't either. Guy gets up in the morning and says, oh, I got 4 Herman Al's and Jake died. 4 hours late. Joe was talking that we're late and, well, giving a you know, that we should have thought about it the night before.
This time of year, we know the freezing rain and the wet fog we get.
Well, I honestly looked at it and I didn't see freezing drizzle.
They can't vote me because I've already done my trip and they haven't got airborne yet. They're not going to get airborne for a couple hours.
Joe checks out the horizontal stabilizer on the tail. It must be completely clean of ice before they fly.
Still not ready to go. Still gonna be a couple hours. Well, we'll get her done. We wanted to get loaded and get out of there and head up the valley.
Joe hates delays. They're bad for business. Now it's up to Devin to get this bird in the air fast.
He says 2 hours, so I want to be the dead of you. Gotcha.
They scramble to put a Herman Nelson heater on the tail of the C46.
We're gonna do the whole wing at once. Oh yeah, sweet. Yeah.
Finally, some progress. The ice has softened enough that it can be scraped away. A coat of alcohol solution will keep the ice from forming again.
5 hours of madness, man. Maybe even more. Ready. See us tonight.
There, get on there. All yours.
Troubles have just begun. Next stop, Norman Wells.
On the takeoff roll, that we got our first indication that something was wrong.
What, they got a fire light? What's that? Got a fire light, eh? The fire alarms came on and we seen them. V1. But we were already past our V1 speed, so we gotta go.
V1 is the critical engine failure decision speed. Now, even if an engine fails, takeoff must continue to V2. Liftoff speed.
I've never had a fire light go off in flight.
With nowhere to go but up, there's no worse time for an engine fire.
Shear.
Okay, just take a good look.
Took a good look, didn't see any fire or smoke, anything unusual. All the gauges read good.
But once they reduce power after takeoff, the alarm stops.
Gives you a little bit of an indication that maybe there's a probe that's grounding on something.
Just try to take a look and see what side it has. If there's a whole lot of exhaust coming out, okay, fire.
Ian goes back to get a better look at the engine.
When you're sitting in that co-pilot seat, you can only see a third to half the engine. So when you go back, you can see oil flowing over the back of the wing that you can't see from the co-pilot seat.
I don't see anything. No exhaust or anything coming out anywhere, no oil or anything like that.
It seems like a false alarm, but there's no way to be sure while they're in flight. All Devin and Ian can do is get to Norman Wells and figure out their next step there.
99 for 82. Little wind from the right.
In Norman Wells, Devin and Ian land the C46.
Very nice. Better.
As they offload, Devin updates Director of Maintenance Rod McBryan about the fire alarm light.
Devin phoned me saying he's got a fire light goes out at 46 inches.
Well, at takeoff power and METO power, the fire lights are coming on. Once we pulled the power back to climb there, the lights went out.
There was a whole process that Devin went through. There was no burns in the cowling, there was no excessive leaks or oil or stains or anything like that, which indicates a fire probe malfunction.
All right, we'll talk to you later.
Without any signs of a fire, the light must be acting up. The engine fire alarm system on the C46 is a loop of probes that set off an alarm in the cockpit when they get too hot.
Devin did as much as he could to verify that it was safe, so.
It'll go off when we're still on the runway.
Devin and Ian get set to fly to Toledo, the last stop on today's Valley Run.
Just ignoring the bell, I guess.
About halfway down the runway, the fire light came on. Did the takeoff, pulled back the throttles, and the light went out.
Anything there? No, I don't see anything, man.
But it just increases the stress and gets you thinking a little more.
An engine fire could blow off an entire wing. With one stop to go, Devin's got to decide. Is it another false alarm, or is there a fire flaring up that he can't see? In the settlement of Toledo,
looking at an hour 50 home.
Devin and Ian gamble that it's a false alarm caused by an overly sensitive probe.
It's gonna go off anyway. All yours.
The alarm goes off as they reach maximum power. But unlike before, it doesn't stop as they hit climb power.
And then that really made me wonder. And then we got up to our 9,500 feet and started to think about it a little.
She looks good over here.
Devin suspects the alarm and fire may be real. He goes to the back to take a look.
But we just happen to have a little tiny hole beside a piano hinge on an access panel that we could see a blue flame inside the cowl.
Can you see that access panel from there? Do you see anything glowing from the left side of the cowl?
Well, that's what we thought it was, but you never know with the illusions of flying at night and the flames coming out of the exhaust as well anyway.
Look up in this corner to see if you can see a light. Is it just flickering? Yeah, it's going poof, poof, poof.
Now Ian takes a look.
Actually, just a little crack in one of the hinges there where you could see inside the engine. See the blue flame.
What do you think? Pretty blue flames, isn't it? It does look like a flame in that top left corner.
We wanted to take every little bit of information to heart, make the right decision, not kill ourselves, and not wreck the airplane.
There's no way that could be some like stupid-ass illusion that we're both missing, could it?
That's why we chatted for a while.
I don't think so. I don't think you can get illusion in a black space.
Sometimes at night, stuff plays tricks on you.
It seems almost unmistakable now. A fire in the right engine.
Well, one of my worst fears in the C46 is that of a fire. Since it has no firewall, most conventional airplanes all have firewalls. DC-3s and all those other ones, they all have firewalls. So at least it'll stop it, for the most part, from getting into the wings where you still have 4,000 or 5,000 pounds of fuel.
Without a firewall, the 3 fuel tanks in the wing are exposed. An engine fire could spread rapidly and ignite the fuel tanks. Devin's only way to prevent a potentially catastrophic fire is to shut down the engine.
Ian and I continued to second-guess each other.
I don't want to. Nor do I.
Once you shut it down, you're not going to get started again. That's it.
If Devin needs to abort the landing, a single engine may not provide enough power for the plane to climb back up. He has a tough decision. Risk a 1-engine landing, or risk an even bigger engine fire.
Shut the son of a down. I've had enough.
We had been lucky so far, and probably best not to keep pushing our luck.
Just throttle back slowly and shut her down.
If that hole hadn't been in that access panel, we probably would have never shut it down.
There you go, pull her. Yep, she stopped. Ready.
But they're not home free yet. They still have to bring the C46 in on 1 engine.
We're estimating your station in about 18 minutes. We have a precautionary shutdown.
Devin will have only one chance to land the 30,000-pound vintage aircraft.
You never want to overshoot with one engine.
Shear down. 1200 above.
Because the right engine was out, if the wind was on the right side of the airplane, it would in turn want to spin you more.
So you gotta push your tail back over to keep you going straight.
On 190. Check. 90.
A perfect one-engine landing.
Roger.
After that, Ian and I pretty much wanted to go home.
Once the C46 is in the hangar, Rod wants to look at the engine right away. And what he discovers under the cowling is startling.
It's broke.
A gaping hole in the exhaust.
So basically this piece broke off, which then you shoot a flame against the breather line.
The flame melted an air hose. But if it had been an oil line, the situation could have been a disaster.
And I think Devin makes the right choice all the time, really. And this was just another example of him making the right choice. What did it do?
Joe's worried about bigger problems facing the C46.
There is no spare exhaust.
Replacement exhaust parts for this rare plane are becoming impossible to find.
I believe that there is some out there. We just haven't been able to put our hands on it yet. But in the next month, we'll have to make up our mind whether or not we're going to keep on looking or start building our parked airplanes.
With exhaust parts so scarce, Joe could be forced to park his two working C46s sooner than he expects, threatening the business he spent years building.
Who do you want to put on the 46 as a co-pilot? You need somebody now, so.
Buffalo just landed a potentially big mining contract for the C46, and they need to train a new co-pilot.
And it's going to be 10 trips.
Okay. When's Andrew back?
I think he's like 26 or something.
26. Okay.
But their top prospects are unavailable.
Well, you need a co-pilot, and I'm leaving on like Friday. So.
To Justin Simley, the company's chief pilot, there are no obvious candidates.
So who are we going to put in there? We've got Larry or we've got Graham. Can we take Graham off the skid?
We don't have a backup. You're gonna have to use
Then
Larry.
it's Larry.
It has to be Larry.
That's all we got. We got to do a ride on him by Friday.
Larry is Laurent Dussault from Montreal, barely 20 years old.
Where are we going with this? What? Inuvik?
He's Buffalo's youngest rampy. But Larry sees his youth and youthful attitude as a plus.
I'm young, willing. I want to touch everything. I want to be everywhere. I want to see everything. I'm really eager. I think that's what sets me apart.
After 11 months at Buffalo, he'll be going straight from working the Ram to piloting the most difficult plane in the fleet.
Larry's, even though he's a little bit of a douchebag, he still freaking works pretty hard.
We just got to do it quick here. We'll do his ride Friday.
Okay. Well, Larry, how you feeling?
How am I feeling?
Yeah.
You good?
Pretty good?
Yeah.
You know, you just got some pretty shithouse luck.
Did I?
Yeah.
From what?
We're checking you on the 46 this week. The 46, not the 3.
Are you serious?
At first, I didn't understand what was happening. Is this a joke? Is this like some sort of like prank and the guys are out just gonna laugh at me when I actually believe it?
You're shitting me.
No, that's true, man.
On the 46?
On the 46.
Can I hug you?
Yeah. You worked hard, man.
Yeah!
Don't rub it in too much, those guys.
What do I do now?
What's that? Finish career.
Okay, yeah, I guess. Unbelievable. Biggest freaking tail dragger piston engine I've ever seen, I know of. It's still in operation. Bigger than a 3, it's an honor. I don't know how to react. I want to tell everybody. I don't know if I'm allowed to. Right now I'm just enjoying it. It's just awesome.
Larry will face the biggest challenge of his life in a plane that's notoriously difficult to fly, even for experienced pilots. The next morning, Buffalo gets the C-46 ready for the new job. flying supplies to a mining camp near Yellowknife. Getting there requires setting down on a frozen lake with an ice landing strip.
An ice strip is inherently dangerous because A, it is slippery, B, it's made from water, and C, it's very unpredictable. But I trust in the C46.
And Buffalo trusts Devin to get it there.
They're in need of fuel and general goods, so we're doing a couple trips today, and if we do well, it's most likely can turn into 20, 30 trips on the ice strip.
Until now, the mining camp's been using much smaller planes. Devin wants to show the customer that the C46 can handle 4 times the payload without needing to expand the ice strip.
150 foot wide, 3,800 feet. It's pretty good for the 46. Perfect airplane for the job.
Right now, the contract is for just 3 short trips that the crew will finish today. But if Devin can prove to the client that the 46 is the best option, he can turn the job into a big multi-week contract.
We'll be in the air in 15, 20 minutes. You just try to show them how much we can actually bring in and save money for them.
Clear takeoff runway 33. Clear takeoff 33 with a return to Buffalo 518. Nice day. Beautiful.
Devin and First Officer Ian Bottomley climbed to cruising altitude. The 46 is handling nicely, even carrying its maximum cargo load.
Feels beautiful the way she's loaded. Yep. Yep.
But fully loaded and fueled, the 46 tips the scale at nearly 50,000 pounds. A lot of weight to slam down on a sheet of ice.
First and foremost is the regular airstrip isn't going to sink if you go through it. If there's bad ice, you never know, we could go through.
With ice, you're always looking at pressure cracks, how thick it is, if it's been scraped up, so you can have ample braking.
Ice reports from the lake look good, but there's only one real test.
Gear down, rudder.
Still stressful the first time, you know, you never know until you actually touch down.
$90-91. 80.
The strip is exactly what Devin was hoping for.
Very nice strip. Yeah. Go, boys.
As the crew unloads, the mining company is already impressed with just this one flight.
The next load, we're going to have 33 barrels.
And they want to up the contract. A day's worth of work will now stretch on for at least 2 weeks.
So it'll turn into almost 20 trips, so that's a nice little contract from 3 to 20.
The C46 crew gets back to work.
Oh, we're going on another flight.
Co-pilot Ian Bottomley is heading back to the ice strip with his new student in tow. Devin and Ian will be preparing Larry for his big co-pilot test, only 3 days away. It's about the steepest learning curve a pilot could imagine, especially one like Larry, who's only logged a couple of hundred training hours in a much smaller plane.
Well, I've said it before and I'll say it again. 250 hours is quite low to be jumping into a right seat of a C46.
You haven't really flown full-time in 11 months, and they put you on the hardest aircraft they've got in this fleet. Pretty scary.
And the C46 is a much different beast from the tiny twin engines Larry flew back at flight school.
One engine on the C46 is the same weight as the plane he used to fly. So that's where he's at the disadvantage.
Warning would have been nice, But on the other hand, when you've waited 11 months on the ramp, you don't ask twice. You don't tell them, well, can I get an extra week? No, you take the chance.
Larry's rarely even sat in this cockpit. Now, he needs to watch everything and learn, because tomorrow, he'll be flying in the co-pilot seat. Out at the ice strip, the crew is almost finished with the latest load, which means the newest crew member is about to face his first big test. Larry flew here as an observer. He's flying home in the co-pilot seat.
I must admit that the first few flights, when I didn't even have time to open the books and Devin set me on the right seat, I was a bit scared. What I was afraid is that Devin had really high expectations.
Cockpit windows, 9 to go. Crew briefing. 9 to go. Shear shut. Shear shut. Yours is shut, yeah, mine is shut, sorry. Ready.
Taking off from a sheet of ice, surrounded by tall trees, Devin can't afford a mistake in his cockpit or a miscommunication with his co-pilot.
We were on takeoff, and the responsibility of the captain is to look outside and call for the power settings, and the co-pilot sets the power setting right after the takeoff.
Yeah, give me 50 inches, airborne 80. Okay.
Power settings are measured in inches of manifold pressure, an indicator of how much power the engine is generating. Devin wants 50 inches of manifold pressure as they leave the ground, power that he'll need to clear the trees.
Lock it.
Larry sets the throttle to 50 inches, as requested. He's holding it there, but he doesn't set the friction knob to lock it in place.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as Larry tries to raise the landing gear,
I just couldn't get it up, so I did release my hand from the throttles. And that's when the power setting rolled back, giving us less power than what we needed.
the plane is barely clearing the treetops.
I was making sure I was clearing the trees, and I felt it go. Throttle came back to minimum, so it's pretty much an engine failure.
Devin takes over just in time.
What are you doing? All right.
I thought that he would have known to lock the throttles, but no.
Man, that's gonna kill us. Okay. I'm trying not to hit the trees.
Obviously, I got into a lot of trouble, I think, for a full 45 minutes of flight.
This is what you're gonna do. You're gonna follow the throttles up. When I tap them, lock them. Okay. And don't let go of the power. Absolutely. Oh, you're killing me.
I got Devin yelling at me and just basically telling me how dangerous this situation could have been.
It's gonna be a big learning curve, so just sit there and take it all in. Yeah, for sure.
You'll never do it again. You got yelled at a little bit about a few little things, but you know what? Tough.
On the sunny island of Santa Maria, the Buffalo boys are playing tour guide.
Look at now, either 68 or 69, somewhere in there. That's the way we're built.
Justin and Arnie are showing off the water bombers to curious airport staff.
So you see those doors there that are open? That's where the water drops out. It takes 10 seconds to pick the water up, eh? Then you're off a little
Let's
bit,
go inside. We can check it out inside if you want.
Yeah, people love coming and looking at airplanes, so. Of course, 215 is a fairly large and noisy airplane, so it draws a little bit of attention when you...
Yes, yes. For me, they're just dots, and it's great to actually be here.
Well, they're amphibious airplanes that are not seen that often, so they're quite interested in them.
It is interesting knowing how they work.
Well, it's kind of a tin can. There's no insulation or anything in here.
Yeah.
So it's tough to get.
These low-flying water bombers were built to fight forest fires, not cross oceans.
You know, the airplane would sink if it was to land in 30 or 40-foot waves, of course.
For these guys to cross the Atlantic Ocean on this airplane, they must be very courageous.
Must be crazy, eh?
Yeah.
Must be crazy.
The other pilots along for this crazy journey are George Fury and Dave Poole. They are hired guns specifically for this risky mission.
I hired Dave Poole, the guy they call Rooster, and he had experience on Atlantic crossings.
I like adventures. I got my wish.
Rooster wanted us to take a picture of him next to the palm tree so he could send it home to his wife.
Nicknamed Rooster, Dave has a family back in Red Deer.
This is just for the folks back home sitting in minus 30 in a snowbank.
I hired George Fleur to go because he had experience in flying an international contract.
Well, I've done a bunch of varied stuff, but I always wanted to go back to the water bombings.
Based in Newfoundland, George never married and leads a journeyman life.
That's the reason I got into flying in the first place, because of the fact of bush flying and basically the adventure of going places different and experiencing new things.
The two met flying water bombers for Buffalo a few years back.
The water bombing business, you know, you get to do lots of takeoffs, lots of landings, and actually get to wheel the airplane around instead of just going from point A to point B.
And they still have 4 more point Bs to hit, covering another 5,000 kilometers before they reach Turkey.
Now the fun part of the trip starts.
That's right.
But their next leg, 1,300 kilometers over the ocean from the Azores to mainland Portugal, will turn out to be anything but fun. It's time to fly again.
What do you think of the palm trees? You like it?
The pilots are looking forward to getting today's leg over open water out of the way.
So we still had another 756 nautical miles of water to cross, so we wanted to get gassed up and blast off for the coast of Portugal.
The two water bombers will fly 1,300 kilometers from the Azores to the coastal town of Cascais on mainland Portugal. A 6-hour flight if all goes well.
Just looking at the weather map here now, it looks like we've got fair sailing, so it should be good.
In a few weeks, this journey will be over, and Dave can return home to his family in Alberta. And George can get back to Newfoundland and his garage of vintage motorcycles. Arnie and Justin will be at the controls of the lead water bomber.
Requesting start clearance.
George and Dave will be flying the other 215.
And we're clear on the right.
With a shorter flight, the pilots choose not to wear the uncomfortable survival suits.
Check, Charlie Foxtrot Tango X-ray Bravo is cleared for takeoff, runway 18.
18, clear for takeoff.
Okay, we're ready to rock. Power is set.
Have a safe flight.
Good day, thanks for everything.
Both George and Dave are qualified captains. It's Dave's turn to fly today. George will be the co-pilot.
Roger that.
Engineer Matt Belanger is riding along to supervise the fuel transfer. The bladders in the cargo hold are filled to the max with 3,000 pounds of fuel.
Everything seems normal. I'm gonna go back to back and have a quick piss.
Less than an hour out of Santa Maria, George takes a break. But that's when all hell breaks loose.
6. We got an overspeed.
Sure, sir. Bring your nose up a little bit, get the speed up.
We're gonna have to go back.
Oh, stalling. Down.
The propeller on the left engine has gone into overspeed. The pilots have lost control of it.
Let's declare an emergency, George. We're heading back.
Okay, Santa Maria.
Charlie Foxtrot Tango X-ray Bravo, confirm your intention.
Charlie Foxtrot Tango X-ray Bravo, declaring an emergency and requesting immediate come back to Santa Maria.
They're out over open water, 130 kilometers away from Santa Maria, with no land anywhere nearby. Their only option is to turn back.
Okay, I'll just roll this up here when you're up, George.
Flying a few minutes ahead, Arnie and Justin hear the emergency call.
Yeah, we got an overspeed on the left engine here now. We're just barely holding on to it.
Okay, check.
We were worried about him. I mean, you know, an engine failure in a CL215 at that weight and those temperatures is a serious deal.
Are you going to make it back here, George?
Yeah, we're working on it. George is busy right now.
We're flying at a higher gross weight than would normally be done because we're a fairing airplane with extra fuel. So, you know, on one engine, it won't stay in the air. It'll gradually be coming down.
The stress on the engine is incredible, like driving a car at top speed and suddenly slamming into first gear.
Worst case scenario in a prop overspeed, if a propeller sheds its blades, it could go through the fuselage. There was nothing we could do for them. We just carried on.
And the left side, may as well feather it out here if we can. Yeah. Fire back. Well, do we want to feather it? Hold the heading there now.
The overspeeding prop is reducing the aircraft's lift. It's dropping 500 feet a minute.
Charlie Foxtrot Tango X-Ray Bravo, you are cleared to descend 5 levels, 60 at pilot's discretion.
Probably do just a slow descent so we won't lose. Well, I'm trying to, George. Yeah, okay.
They're fighting to control the plane's rate of descent.
We're supposed to level at 6,000. Oh, I can't hold it. We're requesting lower altitude. Hold on to 4,000. Don't give up anything. If we can hold 4, we can hold it. I'll hold her 8, that's fine. But
if the plane loses too much altitude, they'll never make it back to Santa Maria. They'll have to ditch. And their decision not to wear their survival suits could prove fatal.
One thing you don't want to be doing is going into the water.
At Buffalo HQ in Yellowknife, Mikey is following the surprising change of flight path.
Look at this. This morning at 7 o'clock, they took off going to Portugal. FNF and TXB were together, and then all of a sudden, TXB turned around, and we don't know why.
Turning back was their only option, but they're still out over open water 80 kilometers from the Santa Maria airport.
Foxtrot Tango X-Ray Bravo, Santa Maria, audio read, sir?
Charlie, Foxtrot Tango X-Ray Bravo. Now we are at, trying to hold 4,000 this time, but we're in a slow descent. Nope, give up nothing. If we can hold 4, we can hold it.
With a half hour to go, the pilots struggle to slow the plane's rate of descent. They'll only have one shot at the landing and need sufficient altitude and airspeed to come around Santa Maria and approach the runway from the north. If they lose too much altitude, they could crash into the cliffs on the east side of the island.
Santa Maria, it's Charlie Foxtrot Tango X-Ray Bravo. We are en route with 6 hours fuel on board.
The crippled 215 is loaded with enough fuel to fly all the way to mainland Portugal. So even if Dave makes it to the runway, a bad landing could be disastrous.
We'll get the trucks there now. Yeah, you can stand by with the emergency services. Yeah, well, we can take whatever they got. Yeah.
Airport staff prepare for the worst.
I need some more power on George. Coming up. Slow and gentle. Now we're at 3,800.
George and Dave have kept the overspeeding engine running, hoping to gain a bit of lift from it. But now they're close enough to the Santa Maria airport to shut the engine down.
Left end mixture, boost pumps off. Oh, as soon as we turn final, we'll feather it, okay? Yep.
Feathering the propeller means rotating the pitch of the blades to a neutral position to reduce drag.
I got the runway in sight, George. I'm just trying to stay high. Check. Tango X-Ray Bravo, check the wind. And we're short final. Landing gear is down. Left engine is feathered.
With one good engine and the propeller on the other turning in the wind, they have to make a perfect landing.
Bypass coming in, on lope and on slope. Mixture, boost pumps off. What's going on here? I don't know. Big pull flaps.
I have the stick.
I got the brakes.
You have the brakes.
Not a dog, eh? Oh.
Safely on the ground, Dave goes over what happened.
We got an overspeeding prop. It means the governor let go wasn't working, and then it just, the RPM spools right up, and you can't, they're uncontrollable, eh? Like we tried controlling it with the prop control, so we couldn't control it, so all you can do is put it in a climb to try and slow it down, eh? You know, I wasn't sure it was gonna maintain altitude all the way in here without feathering it, and normally you feather them, but we got a lot of extra weight on board, so.
Right now we need some fresh air.
Yeah, thanks, George.
Once those two wheels touched the runway, and it was a nice feeling because you know, you just dealt with 45 minutes of stress, so let's relax now.
Yep, I gotta find a way to get a hold of Arnie, so they're not worried about us.
Yeah.
Yep.
Barely a month ago, Larry was just another grunt on the ramp.
I have to admit that I still had a lot to prove to those captains, especially Devin.
Today, Larry will get his chance.
Come on, Larry, let's go, boy.
Flying with Devin Brooks on a delivery flight up the Mackenzie Valley.
Okay.
It won't be easy.
He's not an easy captain to fly with. He expects a lot out of you.
Flying a 65-year-old warbird to remote corners of the North, Devin likes having the input of a seasoned co-pilot.
Oh, you need to rely on him for information. At the end of the day, it's the captain's decision whether to go back, shut an engine down, or any course of action, but it's always good to get real good input from your first officer.
So Mike wasn't too happy at me, eh?
Devin wants Larry to get a feel for the plane before they face any kind of emergency together.
You gotta learn to trust other people and really put your trust in it, because one mistake and the whole crew is dead.
But mechanic Jimmy Esri doubts Larry can be trusted under fire.
All good on the right side. Good morning, Buffalo 509 C46 on Delta.
Right away, Larry's put to the test. Devin hands him control of the takeoff.
And the tower, Buffalo 509 is on hotel, ready for takeoff, runway 15.
Takeoff runway 15.
Paper roll. Roger.
Stiff, but Larry manages the takeoff. A good start to his day. The crew heads almost 700 kilometers northwest toward the remote settlement of Norman Wells.
0 miles, Buffalo 509. 10 mile final service.
Buffalo 509, roger.
As they get close, Devin again makes Larry take control.
Just for practice, we made him do the approach into Norman Wells.
I'll take flap 1 as well.
And Larry makes a classic rookie mistake reading his instruments.
Asked him 2 or 3 times, do you have it dialed up right? Oh yes, oh yes.
He doesn't. He's set one of his navigation aids for the opposite approach.
That was kind of fun. We let him go as far as we could go.
Where are you turning here? Where are you turning left? Wrong way.
Simple as that, you know, heading towards the hills.
Yeah, we're dead. Take a peek out there? Yes, sir.
He's really like making you feel really bad, and you kind of really suck.
You're supposed to be over the water on this one. Roger.
He really make you look like a fool.
But things are about to get much more serious.
And 2 down.
We had to get our head back in the flight because something happened at that point.
The right engine suddenly loses power.
Oh, fine. What's with that? I don't know.
Jimmy, what's wrong with this?
As we get closer to the runway, the right engine start having problem.
Can you hold that? Yep. Number 2, it's all over.
The throttle was locked, but it just went down on its own, and then I had Jimmy hold it there, and it was just really sensitive.
See it, Jimmy? Oh, yeah. It pulled right there.
There was some small thing wrong with the carburetor. It wasn't giving the aircraft the right proper fuel, so it was either too much fuel, and when you cut back, it'd be way too less fuel.
There, you hold those throttles. Yep, no problem.
There was just something that I had never experienced in a 46 or in an airplane before.
Each slight adjustment sends the power levels shooting up or plunging.
That was dangerous because at that point, you had started having a bit of a yaw, left, right.
Oh, my. Little girl is not liking this. No. You know, Roger.
And you're coming in, and you've got a problem with one engine.
Devin fights to keep the plane straight. He's only got one chance to make this landing.
Not right with this thing.
The cardinal rule is don't overshoot. You know, that'll just get you into real big trouble.
Just stay out of the way.
It's a bad time to have a rookie in the co-pilot seat.
All the speed still. Hey.
Larry's far too green for Devin to rely on. So he's tackling this one all by himself.
Bring him up. Go with the afters. Roger.
Getting on the ground, yeah, definitely felt good.
Oh, lordy, lordy, lordy.
Devin's already worrying about the next leg of the trip.
I gotta give you the rest of these pallets. Okay. Just because I gotta get some stuff out of here, the engines aren't running too good.
Mechanic Jimmy Esri thinks there might be a leak in one of the fuel lines.
There's nothing the eye can see.
Looking for some blue stains, trying to find a gas leak on the induction. And the manifold go wild, but he didn't find anything, so.
It's not acting like it's got a gas leak anyways. If there's a gas leak, it'll flicker. The RPM or manifold pressure will flicker. And it's not. It's what happens is dropping.
I'm in the wells and I gotta get to Toledo. Well, Jimmy's in the same boat as me. He doesn't know what's going on and just started backfiring, and the throttles are going all over the place. I have no idea what the hell it's doing. We talked to Rod and made the decision to give it a test flight. I really don't understand it. Well, say a prayer.
Either off to Toledo or off the Yellowknife, one of the two.
The final stop on today's valley run is Toledo. The small hamlet is only 85 kilometers away. If there are no more problems, the C46 crew will make the delivery there.
Coming out of Toledo, you're totally empty at that time. So as long as you can land there, taking off out of there, even if you did have a problem, it's still gonna fly.
But if the engine is still acting up, Devin will bypass Toledo and head straight for home.
Good. 16.
Climb went perfectly. We climbed high enough, and we didn't see anything special, so we elected to go to Toledo.
Closing in on Toledo, the crew tries to piece together how the engine could bounce back so quickly.
I wonder if we adjusted a chuck and ice. Yeah, but not to make the manifold go that low.
Whether or not it was ice temporarily clogging the engine,
I don't know. Just for landing.
For now, the C46's problems seem to have melted away.
That in the back.
Up in Toledo, the C46 crew is finishing the last offload of the day. The plane's empty, and Devin feels better about the flight home.
There's a lot of stress off my shoulders, off Jimmy's shoulders. And Larry's starting to notice that now. Once you get to Toledo, it's pretty much home free.
It looks like their problems are behind them.
Ready, right. Ready here.
Devin, Larry, and Jimmy head for Yellowknife, 600 kilometers away. The flight starts off fine, but then...
I'd say it's about 100, 150 nautical miles out of Toledo. We start having vibration in that same engine.
Go take a peek at that, Jimmy. Yep.
I started to shake really bad. I had a real good shudder to it.
Yeah, it's got a bit of a shake. I can see it in the color and the exhaust. The exhaust is shaking? Yeah.
It was vibrating. I don't know exactly what it was.
That uncertainty is putting the captain on edge.
It's jiggling. Fuel pressure is going. That ain't us.
That's when it's frustrating, when you've had a day of just an older airplane confusing. And that's what it did that day. It confused the hell out of me.
Confused and stuck with a rookie across the cockpit, Devin has to figure out his next move.
It's not running right. That's a fan. Yeah, she's going through the seat pretty good. Oh, I can feel it on the seat.
It's so bad that Jimmy fears the engine won't survive if they keep it running.
It had a really good shake to it. Like we didn't know if we're going to blow this engine up or do we shut this engine down and save it.
Without an experienced co-pilot's input, that decision rests entirely on Captain Devin Brooks' shoulders.
Shut her down.
I did expect from Buffalo that I would encounter some emergency situation.
Oh, shutdown checklist. Yep, number 2.
But I didn't expect it to be this quickly into my commercial career.
You don't need your checklist either. That's a memory item. Yeah. Boom, 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 real quick. Good. Too slow. Roger. There's number 2 going. Oh, the shower shake. That makes her shut. Friction's off.
But they still have to make a crucial adjustment before the engine fully shuts down.
Feather. Nope. Turn right feather? Yeah.
Feathering the prop means adjusting the pitch of the blades so they cut through the air, instead of catching it and windmilling.
If something really was to go bad and the engine wouldn't feather, that's a lot of drag. So you want to get it feathered, get it shut down, just so nothing else can happen.
Okay. That's not good.
Going from its normal position to feather, back to the normal, back to feather, back to the normal, making the aircraft pretty uncontrollable.
Don't feather.
As Devin fights with the stubborn right engine, a brand new problem blindsides him from the left. Now, their healthy engine starts misfiring.
What's going on here?
It just sort of sputtered for a second. That made me take my finger off the button there for a second.
What the heck is going on with this thing? No, we're going to be in fine shape if that's your gas there.
I guess your heart could skip a beat there, that one side not feathering and the other just pop.
That's no choice now, do it.
So Devin has Larry quickly restart the right engine.
Number 2 coming live. Why did number 1 go down? I don't know. Not a clue.
Now Devin can't trust either engine.
Oh, God. I'll just wait for a minute. I need to think about this for a minute or two.
0 for 2. It's not a good batting average.
I don't know what to do.
Still 300 kilometers from home, the crew pushes on, hoping at least one engine holds out.
We're sort of in a point of no return. We didn't want to go back to the wells. Just keep plugging ahead, right?
But if they can't stay airborne, they'll need to find somewhere to make an emergency landing.
That's why we started picking out like places like WWII and Betchico and Highway. I don't know what anybody would have thought to see that big 46 sitting on the highway.
None of those options are good ones, but the crew may have no choice.
I hope not.
Devin has to do something about the vibrating right engine.
Just jiggling like a son of a gun, too. I feel it hurt my ass now.
The vibration were just getting intense. They were getting worse by the minute.
We had to throttle back so much, it was starting to become a drag.
Nothing else to do. Oh, shutdown checklist. Yeah, number 2.
Devin decides to shut down the right engine. Again. This time, the prop slides into feather.
There we go.
I calmed down. At that point, we took that decision. Whatever happens after that, we'll deal with it.
Now, they're flying on one still suspect left engine.
Yellowknife Company, TXW.
Coming into radio range, Devin calls in to raise the alarm.
Are the engineers there?
Travis is here now. Do you want to talk to him?
Travis, it was just jiggling. It did something that I don't know. We'll have to explain to you. I've never seen it before. Feels like it's jiggling right off that side, so we shut it down. I don't know. That's not right, right?
Does the maintenance know?
Yeah, maintenance knows. They just called into Roxy, and they're coming in on 1.
The 46 closes in on the Yellowknife runway.
Here we were coming in on one engine, and that is a very serious situation.
The Yellowknife Tower dispatches emergency vehicles just in case.
Well, the both fire trucks are ready to go. Yeah, I'm tracking him. He should become invisible.
Hey, I see a plane. It's probably it.
No, you're coming down.
Don't land before the runway, obviously, and you do not want to overshoot. It's right in the book. Bold print, do not overshoot on one.
Devin needs to time this perfectly.
I got a wheel. Yep.
We aren't going to come up short, and we aren't going to come up long.
Rolling 119 for 104.
Which means he needs to know his exact speeds and engage his flaps at the precise moment. This is where the pilots have to work together as a team. No time for rookie mistakes.
Pressure's up, green light. Carb's cold, tail wheels locked, your finals are complete. 98, 92. 90. 85.
With Larry's help, Devin slides the 46 right onto runway 09.
Yeah, it's perfect landing.
I'll try and get a fire truck to escort you on Charlie.
For Larry, it was a day to remember.
I don't know, man. Worst part was shutting down second engine and then the first one comes off. That's when I really realized, well, holy, I'm a brand new co-pilot, it's my first month, and I'm already having an engine problem, landing on one engine and all that stuff. It was a hell of a day. I learned a lot. It's in those situations that you learn most.
I don't think he was nervous. I don't think he was scared shitless. If he was scared shitless, he's in the wrong profession. Learn from him. That's all I ask.
Although he doesn't trust you and he doesn't really approve you being there, he needs you. I don't know if I surprised him, but I know I surprised myself.